welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place where we talk all things about personal development, personal growth, self-improvement, and self-empowerment. All on this journey to live a life that makes you proud. It's about you living your life in a way that aligns with you. My name is Natasha. I'm so excited to be here with you today. My goodness. It's been a journey. You guys have been along with me, front row seats, and I'm gonna be honest, some days are tough, some days are a little bit more stronger and easier, and some are just kind of just days. And I've had a few of those. There's been some highlights. Like, I still feel like I can smile through a lot of things, but there's so much adjustment when it comes to change, right? Some changes when we bring upon ourselves, although they're still scary and, full of fear because you don't know what's going to happen, you're a little bit in the driver's seat. Like, I am wanting this change. Like, when I wanted to have a healthier lifestyle, I was scared. I was unsure if it would actually stick. I was totally unsure if it would actually work. And I was like, I don't know if I'll stick with it. I don't know if I'm going to continue with it. I don't know if it's going to work. But I was kind of excited because I was in the driver's seat. I was at a place that I wanted to change. And then my life now, where the changes, it was a change in so many ways I wanted. What did I want the most? I just wanted peace. Like, I didn't want to argue. I didn't want everything to be a passive aggressive comment from me to me, and I just wanted to stop. I just wanted a friend. I just wanted someone who treated me with like decency. And I guess from probably his perspective, someone that I treated with decency. And so maybe we can agree to disagree about who treated who, whatever. But there was just this overwhelming, continual onslaught. It felt like I was always being attacked. It felt like I was living with an enemy. And so for the idea of, I get it. He wanted to return to the room. And in some ways I wanted him to return to the room, but it was under certain circumstances. I didn't want to be huffed at when I was trying to be very quiet and get into bed. I didn't want to be asleep and then be disturbed because he was coming in bed late. I didn't want to feel like it was this punishment when, he was mad at me for something, then he just gets up and leaves. Like, it was this bigger thing. I've been in so many situations where I felt like I was with like an enemy, or, someone had attacked me or things like that. Like, from my history of having been sexually assaulted and having been molested, like, there were so many situations that I couldn't find the strength anymore to share my bed. Like, this place that I'm super vulnerable, where I just want to relax and be in peace and rejuvenate. I just couldn't share that space with someone I deemed and viewed like an enemy. And so at one point I literally was like, he was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't view you as my enemy. Like, you're my friend. You're my best friend. I'm like, this is how you treat your best friend? Like, what? Like, I don't get it. Like, from my perspective, I don't feel like even an ally, like a acquaintance. So I literally made this whole, like, and I'm not artistic, but I made this whole chart, and it was just like, like enemy, acquaintance, casual, like friend, like friend, best friend, intimate, like, and like had to be like, okay, on this like scale, like, I feel like we're here. And, he was like, well, I disagree, and so I was like, that's fine. But like, this is how I feel. And so it's really hard for me to be open and vulnerable with somebody who I feel like is going to take whatever I say and use it against me. And, whoever is like looking for something that I say to be like, oh, see, let me just prove your point. So anyways, I don't want to go into the whole history and everything like that. So in some ways, this change of life, and those of you who maybe are just tuning in for the first time, it's been a little bit over a month since I found out, my husband had a girlfriend, then they broke up, and then they moved out, and then they're friends and not friends and still hanging out. I don't know. That's their story. And all the while we're still married, and, no paperwork has technically been filed. And while we were like, okay, we're separated a few months ago, I always held this hope that we would come together. I held this hope because I had this dream, right? I wanted a marriage that lasted. Like, our agreement when we first got married was we were both the children of divorce, and we never wanted to divorce. And so I don't know if that made him feel like, because, you know, at one point he was telling me, I just never thought you would leave, you know? So if it would be my loyalty or, you know, from that, like, he knew that there was nothing he could really do that would cause me to leave, because I so valued holding this family together. It was everything to me. This family was it was my air, my water, my food. Like, it was everything to me. These people in here were everything, and keeping it intact was just of utmost priority. And as I began taking care of myself, I began to see things a little bit different. I began to see things in a way that my happiness also mattered. And while the family is very important, if someone in the family isn't well or isn't feeling good, that doesn't help the family. That actually harms the family. And especially someone as pivotal as me in the role I play in this particular family. You know, I'm the first person they go to. I mean, they would walk past their dad if they had an owie or had a question or had anything. It was like, you know, mom is the one, you know, mom was the one they always went to. And sometimes I'd be so tired and exhausted, I'd be like, you literally just passed your dad to come and tell me this. Like, this was something your dad could have totally handled and taken care of for you, you know, but yet, you know, here we are coming to mom. So anytime there was a strife between the siblings, anytime there was something to celebrate, it was mom, mom, mom. And now everyone is getting older, and they still very much, you know, because the nature of my kids, they're all still here. They still have a lot of dependence upon mom. They have their own individuality and they have their own independence in a lot of ways, but they do rely upon mom in a lot of ways. And, you know, I feel like in my personal growth journey, there had to be a change. It wasn't before, it was, they were the four of them were the priority. Then it was Chris, then it was everybody else. And then I was somewhere way down in the bottom. And what this change for me that I began and I initiated was I started bumping myself up the totem pole. And it was very slow. Like, it started with the simplest of things, like just doing a little bit of self-care and understanding that it isn't selfish for me to spend $20 on a lunch. It isn't selfish for me to, you know, take a few hours and go to the beach and disconnect and not talk to my kids or not be the go-to. And again, it wasn't a smooth transition. It was still, again, you know, Chris would be here and they're calling me, Mom, where's my sock? Mom, where's this? What's this? And I was like, listen, call me if there's an emergency. If not, this is my time. And I know you don't understand because mom never had time and this is an adjustment, but I need this time. And there were so many days that I would just sit on the beach and just listen to the ocean. And I loved it because it was so loud in some ways that it just drowned out my thoughts and it just put me in a peace. I wasn't worried because myself making that transition was difficult because I was like, oh my gosh, what if something happens? Like, what if they need me? You know, oh my gosh, like, you know, I should just be there. I mean, I could be hanging out with them versus, you know, out here on the beach. Like, once they grown and moved on, I can go to the beach then. And it's not that important for me to do this. And I would just say, stop, like, just go try it out. If you don't like taking care of yourself, you can always go back to just taking care of everybody else. And so I began doing it and I began really, really leaning into my writing and journaling and just being quiet in my thoughts and walking and appreciating this value of being able to just choose. Like, everywhere I had gone before, it was like I always had to have my family with me. If everybody wasn't together, it was like there was a damper in the day. And so learning how to be like, I can walk when I want to walk. I can sit on the beach when I walk. I can look at seashells when I want to walk. I can, when I want to, I can, you know, go to the tide pools. I can grab something to eat. I can bring something to eat. I can have something to drink. I don't have to sit here and worry about somebody else and what do they want and what do they want to do and are they okay and worry about it there, you know, are they feeling bored or do they want to go? Are they cold? Are they hot? I just didn't have to worry. And I felt like so much of my life had been from the nature of it, you know, right? So I was born to teen parents. You know, when I was only 3 years old, my mom had an unfortunate situation where she had like attempted suicide in front of us. Thankfully, I, even at such a young age, knew to go downstairs. Ironically, it happened to be she was a nurse. My mom ended up barely, but she survived it. And, you know, I took care of my brother in that situation. You know, obviously I'm a kid. This is in the 80s. Nobody's talking about it. You know, maybe actually this is probably like still the late 70s, you know, at this point. There isn't a therapist or a, you know, anything like that to just, it happened. We don't talk about it. You know, and then it comes up every once in a while. Like my dad would bring it up every once in a while. And again, you know, certain things happen. If, you know, if I'm touching a window or things, you know, it'll come back to me. The whole scene of everything, like even right now I'm sitting here and I'm trying to have the conversation, but the whole scene is running in my mind. So I had that. And then my mom left when I was about 5 years old. And she wasn't in our life for many years. And then when she did, it was kind of like this unreliable source. She was having her own issues and things. Again, like I say, nothing against her. It was her own thing. Every day I'm here, I break a generational curse. This curse of the moms leaving is generations above, as far as I can see, as far as we're aware. So the fact that I remain is like a testament to like my strength and my courage and my desire to like make a difference in my kids' lives and make a difference in our legacy for this family. And no fault of their own. Honestly, my mom did the best she could with the tools she had at the time, and as did her mom and the moms before it, and my grandma, my dad's side. So again, no judgment. I do believe that they were doing the best they could. Sorry, this stupid flu cough is still like lingering. I'm like, when is it going to go away? So change. So, you know, there's been a lot of things that have happened and sorry, the change for me of being able to take care of myself and not feel guilty, not feel like it was selfish, not feel like I was a crappy mom because I took care of myself. This is so annoying. I'm so sorry. But anyways, so I learned in that process, in that change, that taking care of myself actually made me a better mom in some way. That it wasn't about the quantity of time with my kids, but the quality of the mom that showed up for them. And I was able to show up in such a different way when I began to take care of myself as well. It wasn't only about me. I think I would have had a problem about that. But just, again, like I've said on here a few times, allowing myself a seat at the table, you know, like so many times in like a metaphorical way and an actual way. Like I'd cook a meal and I'd still be cooking and I'd be serving everybody. And by the time I'd sit down, you know, because I'd be like, no, everybody go, there'd be nothing left for me, or it's just the scraps. And you know, it kind of felt like that was my duty in this world. It was just to make sure everybody else was okay. Everybody else was served. Everybody enjoyed the best things. And I kind of got the scraps and the leftover. I treated myself that way. So the beauty of beginning a self-care routine, something that I had to like, I was really good about, I still am. If I have something in my calendar, I stick with it. And so having something in there that literally is like self-care Sunday, I had to put it in to remind me to do it because it wasn't a habit. It wasn't something that was in my nature to do. And I really took it religiously. Self-care Sunday looks so much different now than it did before because my life has changed from that time and period. I still try to take even a few moments to do something very nurturing and self-care-ish. You know, like that day, but I also integrate self-care into every day. It's not just a once a week, 52 time a year thing. I do a lot of self-care. I do a lot of scalp massages, a lot of, you know, meditation, a lot of compassion to myself. Like today is a day that, you know, I just am lethargic, you know, would be the best word. Is, you know, sometimes during this weather, I used to always joke, like, I feel like I am part bear or something. Like I need to hibernate. My body was made for Siberia and it's hibernation time. And it's not even that cold. It's actually lovely outside. I've been taking quite a few like walks and just quite a few times that like the sun is out. So I'm like, I'll just literally go out and just feel the sun on me for a minute. And I feel like a little bit of rejuvenation, but I feel like I'm unable right now to kind of get it together. And I'm not mad at myself. I'm not frustrated. I'm not beating myself up and making it worse. I'm just kind of embracing where I'm at. I'm like, okay, we'll get it together. It's just probably not going to be today. And you've been through a lot in a very short, you know, span of time. Outpatient surgery, a leaving of a husband, you know, the husband leaving, the finding out he had a girlfriend, like stalking the girlfriend's, Facebook to be like, who is this person? Why is this person better than me? Why is it better to be friends with her? Like, why invest all this time and leave your family? Like trying to like ration what doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, why would, going out with her be more important? Somebody you have only known for a few months be more important than spending even 10 minutes with your son? Like, it doesn't connect in my brain. I don't understand it. And I was searching for answers, and I really wanted to like hate him. And then he was being really nice. And then suddenly, he had said something about reconciliation. And I was like, well, maybe, and if he's always this nice, like maybe this is the change. Maybe she changed him. And, like having this almost like hope that maybe this doesn't really have to go through with it. And then, they get back together, and then he's just awful to me. And, the reality of being here. And again, I don't have, like, I did behind the scenes work. Like, I don't have an income. So having to like get out there and put applications and do all these things, and then decide like, I want to do this still. Like, how do I fit all this in? Plus be their mom. Plus, like today I took my son to a doctor's appointment. Tomorrow I take him to a doctor's appointment. Like, how do I do everything? I have to check in on them, make sure that their mental health, their physical health is okay. Like, I had the flu, my son got the flu, like trying to be careful around the house, taking care of everything, every grocery shopping, like, and it doesn't sound like a lot in some ways, but in other ways it's just immense. And like, and in this time figuring out, because our heaters got shut off, switching PG&E into my name, like figuring out things, how to downsize, and just, again, I get in this, when there's change, I do a lot of like nesting. It's like, I want my nest to be like cleaned and safe. And maybe there's a lot of change going on, but like, I can have this safety. And so, here's a change of my life that, although the writing was on the wall, there was no question that this was going to happen. And, he was pretty vocal about it. I just wasn't really listening. I was more probably in denial. Like, yeah. You always say this stuff. I'll believe it when I see it. And again, there was also that little hope in me that things would change, that one day, because as much as I believe people can change if they want to change, right? Like, I believe, because I did it. I did what seemed so impossible. Like, I went from 300 pounds, depressed, had no idea how to take care of myself, like the shell of a person that I would look in the mirror and I didn't even recognize who I was anymore, to this, like, to someone who is following her passions, that she found what her passion is, like someone who was able to do what seemed impossible and made it so possible and so easy. Like, I just had to get out of my own way. It's not that hard. I mean, somebody at the gym came up to me today and they were like, I just have to say, like, it's been incredible to watch your transformation. And I was like, well, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate that. Especially this last month. Like I said, I'm not doing my steps. I'm very much nurturing and babying this injury because it's gone on for so long. And I really need it to be calmed down before I do more. And if that means I need to stop in order to go, that's what I have to do. And so I'll do a class and I'll really take a lot of modifications. And believe me, there's songs and there's moves that I just want to let go. I just want to let everything inside that's like brewing. I just want to let it out in the dance. And I can't. I mean, I can, but I'm going to pay severely for it. So I have to be very intentional and wise about the actions I do make, the moves I do make. And that's really a metaphor for where I am right now. And so, like I said, that change, I mean, she said, well, what is your secret? And I was like, I do my steps. There are times that I'm crazy and I do like 20,000 steps a day, and I'll tell you that that's crazy. That's not I think 10 to 15 is a absolutely doable number for most people. I believe that I don't know what other things, like for me right now, 5 to 10,000 is doable. That's all I can do. Some days I can only do 5. And some days it's even less right now. I really, really have to be careful. And if I can't feel my leg, I'm not pushing through. I'm not. It just may mean I'm going to do some meditation, extra meditation, or I may do some yoga. I may do something else that isn't so harsh on my injury. So it is really about adapting to where you are. But beyond that, I eat a sweet a day. I have my dessert every single day. I eat anything I want. And only other thing I do is I keep it within a window. That is my discipline. It is my checks and balance. And again, I've personally seen remarkable results as a result of the intermittent fasting. Personally, like, I love it because it's helped me with my mental clarity. It has helped me with my skin and my hair. It has helped me with, I don't have migraines anymore. It has helped me with like IBS, like all those things that I used to carry around, I no longer have. And it just helps me to say, okay, here's the eating time. And it's very, like, again, I'm really good with schedules. So this is great. And it's so flexible, right? It's free. I don't have to pay anyone, or there's nothing like spectacular about like, okay, here's this plan, and I don't have to put any kind of drugs into my body and depend on something else. And I don't have to have a surgery or any of those things. So those things are really important to me. It's something totally accessible. And then if I ever am hungry early, I break my fast early. If I'm hungry late, I'll eat later. If I'm at a party or at a lunch or a breakfast, it's okay, right? Like, it's okay. I catch back up tomorrow. It's all going to work out. It's not like suddenly I eat after my window and all of a sudden I'm back to 300 pounds. No, I mean, this has been it's such a test because I have, I feel like I'm within, a range, even though I'm eating, it's holidays, it's birthdays, I'm eating, I'm not moving much. I'm still being able to maintain within a range. I don't have a scale. I don't weigh myself. So I don't know, but I can tell from my physique, there isn't much of a change, if any, And so I appreciate that here, if I just got out of my way. For so many years, I thought it had to be so complex. Like, I needed to join a Weight Watcher. I needed to get on a diet pill. I needed to do this. I needed to sacrifice. Like, the woman was asking me, well, do you count calories? And I said, absolutely not. On the contrary, did that one time, most depressing era of my life. Yes, it felt good to lose weight. I think in that era, I had lost about 60 pounds or 30 to 60 pounds. I can't remember the exact number. I can't remember the number. And it was in a pretty short amount of time. And I was really hard on myself. I was beating myself up as a punishment to say, how dare you be so big? How dare you have gotten to this weight? How dare you be obese? How dare you neglect yourself? And here was your punishment. Here is your punishment. As a result of you eating everything you wanted all the time, you can only eat 1,200 calories now. And here's your punishment. You're going to do boot camp workouts, which some people love and are great, but I wasn't working out. So any kind of movement, it was hard, like now I love jumping jacks. I can't jump that much right now, but overall I love jumping jacks. I don't know why, I just do. But it was jumping jacks, planks, push-ups. It was everything just so brutal. And I had been watching The Biggest Loser, and I was doing these Biggest Loser workouts. They were brutal. They were hard, especially for somebody like I can probably do them now because I'm really conditioned. I'm in a completely different body type, health, but it was so cruel. It was just so mean, and it wasn't gentle, and it wasn't nice. Whereas this journey started with yoga. It started with stretching. It started with walking. It started with dancing. It was a whole different approach. It was like, I love you, and I want this to be a lifestyle change. And that doesn't mean it's going to be fast, right? This change is going to take time. And it's going to have its ups and downs. And I keep talking about it because although my situation now is different, right? I'm going through, and it's hard for me to say, like, cause I've said it before, but like, I am, technically a single woman, and I am a single mom, and I am going through a divorce, although the paper hasn't been signed, which still gives me a lot of, well, maybe there's still time. Like, I still have a lot of confusion within myself. Like, maybe we reconcile. Maybe he'll be nice, And then I get a text this morning and it's passive aggressive. I get a text last night and it's passive aggressive. And I'm like, see, this is what I didn't want. This is the point of us not being together is I don't want to be, in a sense, like, I'm not a victim, but I don't want to be assaulted by your words all the time. I didn't do anything. I'm asking you a question, which network adapter is better? And it doesn't now become this thing like about me wanting to, it's a simple question for a tech person, an IT person, and this morning my son had a doctor's appointment later than I already called the school in. He asked me, can I please, I have these 2 classes, but can I please just stay? And I reluctantly was like, fine, that's fine. And then I told, and it just was like, I told you as soon as I knew. I didn't like not tell you any time, minute after. And, it was like an attack on me that I didn't tell him sooner. And it just, in those ways, it reminds me, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do, but it doesn't make it easier. So this new era of my life, this change, what I've been learning and what I have been working on recently is just the acceptance of it. This is the change. I don't know how it's going to go. Like, I'm fearful. I'm so grateful we've made it to this far, and I've made it to this far, and I feel stronger and stronger. But the change is weird, right? His car isn't where it's supposed to be every day. The garage doesn't open. Like, there's certain things, like I needed to install a filter onto the shower because the kid's skin was getting inflamed. We have really hard water here. And so, having to look at that, I'm like, I just want to like give it to somebody else. I'm not really good at reading directions. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like, want to me. So like, I'm more of like, like show me, but I sat there and I was like, no, really read and try to understand. And I did it, and I installed it, and I felt really good, and I was really proud of myself for being able to do something that I totally would have been like, Chris, do. Actually, I did. I bought this thing over a year ago, and I bought two. He installed one, but he never installed the second one into the boys' bathroom. And, I didn't like dawn on me that he didn't install it because I don't shower in there. Then I saw it because we have to have our bathrooms redone, and I saw it just recently, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll install this. But because our bathroom is damaged, we have to use the other bathroom. And my daughter was like, yeah, my skin is starting to flare up, and I'm almost getting dandruff. And then my other son was like, yeah, my eczema is flaring up in there. And I'm like, because in here I have a filter, and that one it doesn't. So I'm became an importance to me, and I got that installed. And so hopefully that helps with their skin conditions and change. So, change that we want, change that we're looking for, although it can be really scary, we're a little bit in the driver's seat. And so it does also carry this excitement. Whereas change that we weren't looking forward to, or changes we weren't expecting, they definitely can be a lot more daunting. Like, this has been a lot more daunting on me. It's been a lot more pressure on me, and I just didn't want it right now. It wasn't the ideal time, for me. Again, the holidays, birthdays, I don't think there ever is an ideal time, but if there is ever not, this would be it. And so learning how to adapt even amidst this most hectic of time is something that I know is making me more resilient. It is making me stronger. And you too, what are you going through that you are just like, this is not the time for this? Like, is it a change in your career, a change in your job, change with a relationship? Maybe you are moving, something that is going on, and you're like, this just wasn't the time. This isn't what I wanted. But there, in a way, sometimes I really do feel that like the universe, God, whatever you want to refer to it as, really like gives us signs and gives us things like, okay, let's make this change. You're saying you want this change. And then finally they are like, listen, we're taking things in our own hands because you're not making this change. And it may not be exactly what we want, but it is exactly what we need. And I know I will get through this. I know that my kids will get through this. And I know that even Chris will get through this. And I really do hope we come to a place where there is peace and there is understanding, and that there isn't the raw emotions. And I think that begins with acceptance. I need to accept this change, right? There's no turning back. It doesn't mean we couldn't reconcile. It doesn't mean he couldn't ever move back in here. But what I do know is where we are today. Where I am today, I need to accept the fact that I am Natasha. I am the single mom of 4 kids that are 100% reliant upon me. And it's intimidating. It's scary. And in some ways, it's always been this way, but it's just never been this way in this way. And I have to learn to accept that change. And whatever you're going through, you can do it too. Begin with accepting what's going on. The more we resist and fight it, it just makes it that much harder for us to move forward in it. So I say all this to say thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so proud of you. I really do adore you. And I thank you for every minute and moment that you have shared with me and listened to my stories. So thank you so much. Please go out there today. Give somebody a big smile. Give them a compliment and just watch how they glow up. Thank you. Bye. Sometimes it just doesn't want to click. I go old school. This doesn't even want to click.